Did you find yourself at all channeling any like Dennis Reynolds psychopath type of sociopath type of shit? 'Cause you say like you haven't done it, but in some of Dennis's darker moments, when you see those things where they recut a comedy to look like a horror movie or whatever, you could really do that with some of Dennis's darker shit. I feel like you're right on the edge there with some of your previous acting.
You're not wrong. No, you're not wrong. It's weird. It's like I've always really kind of studied and respected and liked those actors where the difference between their comedy and their drama is like one notch of the dial, or maybe two notches. Like Alec Baldwin. Like Alec Baldwin in a dramatic performance, you dial it up one tiny little notch, and it's a comedic performance.
Right.
I've always just kind of. That's always what I've striven for. So like, strived.
It's shrewd actually. I strived for it.
So yeah, I mean, with Dennis, I always thought it would be funnier with Dennis if it wasn't funny, if it was really menacing and scary. But what he's saying is so ridiculous and so insane that you sort of have to laugh, because if not, you're like genuinely disturbed. So you're forcing people to laugh so that they're not disturbed.
Yes. Like if I don't laugh, I have to like cry and run. So I better just laugh about this. Yeah.
Yeah. And I knew that while the character needed to be scary and arch enemy, I also knew that it could be fun. I wanted it to be fun to watch and fun to play. So it was just kind of just tweak. Yeah, I think it's in some ways like kind of tweaking what I do on Sunny maybe a little bit to just make it a little more real.
We got a young guy here who's helping us out with social media, and he's focusing on TikTok because we're old and washed up, and TikTok is beyond us. And a lot of what we're not going to dance, so a lot of the only thing that we can contribute is where we kind of we mouth and lip sync to our favorite scenes. And we're working on the implication. There's a lot of back and forth that we got to nail the timing. But trying to even just lip sync the implication the right way is boy, that was a special scene, Glenn. That was special.
Yeah, that was. I got to give Rob and Charlie full credit for that, because that was something. I was off like breaking another story with the writers and working on a different episode while the two of them were writing that episode. And I remember I came in one day to, I was like, how's it going, guys? And they were like, dude,
we got something.
They were like, we just wrote something for you. Like they were all proud. They were like, they just knew. They knew. Yeah. It's like they could feel it. They were like, we're onto something here. Like, this is good. We just wrote something for you that is so fucked up. And I was like, ooh, let me look at it. And I read it and I was like, oh my God. I mean, this is so close to the line that I don't know. Like, also like, this is also really funny because I get what you're going for here. It was so
great. It's so good, man.
Is that nerve-wracking? Because even like we're talking about like doing it on TikTok and they're not even our words, and we're still nervous, being like, oh shit,
how's that gonna be
are they
received?
Gonna think this is what I'm saying kind of deal? Is that like, are you like, I really need to nail this perfectly, otherwise it's bad?
100%. Yeah, 100%. I mean, it had to be very clear. And it was important to me that it was very clear to the audience that what Dennis was saying, because whether Dennis is a true psychopath or murderer or whatever, is a question that shouldn't ever really fully be answered. So, I wanted to make it as clear as possible that what he was saying was like, I'm never going to do any of the things. I'm never going to do any of the stuff. It's just that she doesn't know that. And that's what I'm taking advantage of. It's the fact that she does not know me well enough to know what I'm capable of. And see, you're laughing now because it's so horrible.
It's so horrible. It is preying upon, the deepest, darkest fears a girl can have, and we're laughing about it.
That's the other thing too that to me made it funny and made it sort of work, is that Dennis isn't even saying that he's not even going to say, there's no threat. There's no verbal threat. It's just the fact that we're out here in the ocean in the middle of nowhere is sort of enough to make you go,
The best. It's all time. It's all time. I mean, as we're talking through it here, I think I would have to declare that the best like Dennis Reynolds moment ever. When you really, when you break it down to that level, you know, there is so much to unpack there. It is special.
My personal favorite, I think, is still trying to sell the Range Rover in the water.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
It's an amphibious vehicle. Do you have more interest in going this route? Like I saw there are some reviews that were like Glenn Howerton is absolutely amazing in this film and he should be looked at more for the like comic book villain angle. Is that something you're more interested in?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, send me those reviews because I'd love to do that. That always feels good. Just hearing you say it just fills me with pride. But yeah, I mean, absolutely. I when I was in school, like when I was growing up and you know, sort of training to be an actor and you know, heading out into the professional world, I always felt I was identified more as a character actor, but then I guess, you know, certain people were like, well, you're kind of handsome. Like, what if you just play like the normal guy? And I was like, how do you fucking make that interesting? I'm just a guy. Like, that's not interesting. You know, it took me a while to sort of figure out how to be the straight man, just be like a normal, you know. So like early in my acting career, my early 20s in college and stuff, I saw myself doing almost exclusively the kind of stuff that I did in Arch Enemy. You know, more character stuff, more drama. So it's fun to kind of get back in touch with that younger actor in myself who always wanted to do shit and get to do it again. So yeah, I mean, that'd be a blast. Playing bad guys is also just so fun. I mean, every actor says that, and it's true. I mean, it just gives you so much to sink your teeth into, and you get to act out certain things that you hopefully don't do in real life.
Get that out of your system.
But you really want to.
Yeah. Scratch that itch without going. What about movies versus TV? Do you have a preference there as far as the craft, if you will?
You know, I've gotten so used to working in TV where there's almost no like kind of rehearsal and everything moves super fast that I've sort of learned to just kind of come ready and just be ready to kind of let it fly and see what happens.
Right.
You know, so I'm certainly more comfortable with that actually than you know, in most films where you actually are like, you're going to rehearse and you're going to sit down with the director and talk about the character and all this kind of stuff. Like all that stuff I find a little intimidating. But I did all that with Arch Enemy. I actually worked way more on that than I have on most things, and spent a lot of time talking to the director about it. I mean, a lot of time talking to the director about the character and filling in all the blanks. And, you know, but also with that, because I just wanted it to be convincing. I didn't want to go in there and pull from my old bag, you know, from the same bag of tricks that I'm used to pulling from. I wanted it to feel like a real guy. Yeah, I mean, the process was different for me, and I think the process on most films is different insofar as you usually get a little more time to work on it. So, but there's fun in just being spontaneous. But if I'm going to transform and be a totally different human being, the time to kind of be able to work that out in a film is a little bit better.